The snow was falling in fat. Lazy flakes outside my kitchen window in Elmwood Grove, Indiana. The kind that made the whole subdivision look like a Christmas card nobody asked for. I stood at the sink, hands deep in soapy water, scrubbing Noah's cereal bowl while the HOA app on my phone buzzed against the granite like a rattlesnake. I dried my hands slowly, already knowing it was bad news. Barb Whitaker never texted good news. The notification lit up. Attention Sarah Ellison, effective immediately. You are barred from all 2024 HOA holiday events, including the Christmas block party and Luminario walk. The board is tired of your constant complaints, rule bending, and negative attitude. Merry Christmas. No emoji. No explanation. Just that cold. Corporate slap. I stared at the pixels until they blurred. Tired of me. The same phrase that had haunted every welcome packet since I moved in 6 years ago after the divorce. I was the single mom who paid her dues on time, mowed exactly to regulation height, and somehow still got cited for excessive holiday spirit when my lights were one strand brighter than the approved soft white only. A second message popped up from Barb herself in the neighborhood group chat. A single laughing emoji. The one with tears. Haha. I could picture her in her McMansion 2 streets over, sipping her overpriced latte, surrounded by the board she handpicked, all nodding like bobbleheads while she typed. My stomach didn't drop. It hardened. Because this wasn't new. This was the final receipt on a tab I'd been paying for years. Flashback hit me like the blizzard I drove through last December. The HOA had discovered that my wreath was 2 inches too wide. Fine, $250. Then they claimed my trash cans were visible from the street for 4 whole minutes on pickup day. Another $150. I paid every single one because fighting meant lawyers and more fines, and no one needed stability. But I also quietly covered the shortfalls. When the community pool filter died, I wrote the extra check so the kids could swim. When the holiday light contest needed sponsorship, I funded the prizes so Barb could pose for photos. I was the invisible ATM keeping her little kingdom shiny. I remember the night last winter when the power flickered during the annual board meeting. Barb had stood at the podium in her perfect red blazer, sighing dramatically. We're so short this year. Neighbors. Inflation. You know. Some of us just have to sacrifice. Her eyes had landed on me in the back row. I transferred the difference before the meeting even ended. She never said thank you. She just posted a glowing update about generous community spirit. The kitchen felt too quiet now. Noah's footsteps thudded upstairs as he hunted for his sneakers. I picked up the phone again. My thumb hovered over the reply button. The old Sarah would have typed, "I'm sorry. What did I do? I'll fix it. I'll donate more lights." The little girl who just wanted approval was screaming to smooth it over. Instead, I remember the last block party. Barb had cornered me by the punch bowl. "Sarah, darling, your lawn edges are looking a tad rebellious. And that son of yours left a bike on the driveway for 30 seconds. We can't have that energy around here." She smiled like a shark in pearls. I smiled back, wrote another check for the beautification fund, and went home to eat cold leftovers while she posted selfies with the new fountain she bought with my money. Something snapped. Not loud, just a quiet click, like a deadbolt finally sliding home. They weren't tired of me. They were tired of pretending I wasn't the one keeping their ridiculous rules afloat. I opened my banking app right there at the counter. The list was embarrassing. Monthly HOA dues, $185. Special assessments I'd covered, snow removal overages, holiday decor rentals, even Barb's leadership retreat that somehow got charged to the community account last year. I started clicking. Cancel. Confirm. Cancel. Confirm. Each one felt like pulling rusty hooks out of my skin. Sharp tug. Then sweet release. Noah appeared at the stairs. One sock on. Hair sticking up. "Mom, Do we still have to go to the block party? Barb always makes me wear that itchy sweater she bought. I smile for the first time all morning. We're making some changes this year. Kiddo, how about pizza and video games instead? He shrugged, unbothered. Cool. I leaned against the counter, breathing. The furnace kicked on. The house breathed with me. For the first time in 6 years, the weight of every petty citation and silent subsidy lifted. But I wasn't done. The analyst in me wanted the full spreadsheet. I opened my laptop, pulled the secret folder labeled HOA Ledger, the one I'd kept since I volunteered to help with the books 2 years ago because no one else had time. Barb had loved that. She'd handed me the passwords with a wink. You're so reliable. Sarah, I scrolled. $32,417.60 in the last 18 months. Not just my dues. The extra checks. The anonymous donations that somehow always got routed through my card. And there, dated 3 days ago, Northwoods Retreat, Pine Hollow, Wisconsin, $1,850. Paid in full. Guest list, Barbara Whitaker, +3. No Sarah. The confirmation email was still in the HOA junk folder I'd been copied on. They weren't just banning me from Christmas. They were using my money to throw their own luxury getaway while I sat home with my son, fined into silence. I took screenshots. I saved the ledger. Then I opened the Elmwood Grove Neighbors group chat, all 187 residents, including every aunt, uncle, and nosy retiree on the block. I attached 3 images, the cabin booking, the payment from the HOA account, and the cancellation notices I'd just issued. Caption, just so everyone knows who's really been paying for your perfect holidays. Merry Christmas from the person you're tired of. Send. The chat went dead silent. Read receipts exploded. Then the typing bubble started. The first reply came from old Mr. Hargrove, 3 doors down. Wait, Barb said the retreat was for board training. Then Mrs. Patel from the cul-de-sac. Sarah, is this real? I thought we were short on funds. Barb's avatar popped up. The 3 dots danced like she was having a stroke. Finally, this is completely inappropriate in private board business. Sarah is clearly having some kind of breakdown. Delete this immediately. I didn't delete it. I pasted the full ledger instead. Every special assessment. Every emergency fund transfer. Every time I'd covered the difference so the neighborhood could keep its precious uniform Christmas lights. I highlighted the line where Barb had charged her personal hot tub rental to the community wellness account. The chat erupted. Cousins I barely knew started tagging each other. I knew those new street lamps looked expensive. Doug from the board said he paid for the tree lighting. Was that Sarah too? Barb tried damage control. Families, I mean neighbors, help each other. This is twisted out of context. Sarah is being dramatic and divisive. I typed back one line. Divisive is finding a single mom $400 for a wreath while booking yourself a luxury cabin on community money. Call it what it is. My phone started ringing. Barb. I declined. Then the board treasurer. Decline. I wasn't taking calls where they could gaslight me in private. Everything stayed in the public chat where 187 witnesses could see. Upstairs, Noah hummed a video game tune. I felt the same clean calm I got at work when I finally debugged a massive data set. The glitch was identified. The fix was in motion. But Barb wasn't done. 20 minutes later, she posted a tearful video to the chat. Perfectly lit. Soft filter. Voice cracking. I have given everything to this community. Sarah's accusations are hurtful and false. She's clearly struggling. We should pray for her. I almost laughed. Black humor at its finest. The woman who fined me for emotional support dog visible from street now wanted prayers. I replied with a screenshot of her own email approving the cabin as board morale expense. The group chat went nuclear. Someone, I think it was the retired accountant on Maple Lane, started asking for an independent audit. Another neighbor posted their own stack of fines they'd paid while watching Barb's new SUV appear last summer. I muted the chat, but left my name visible. Let them see I was still watching. The memories kept coming anyway. Last summer, Barb had called an emergency meeting because my son's basketball left a single scuff on the community sidewalk. $75 fine. I paid it, then quietly fixed the entire sidewalk crack so no one else got cited. She'd thanked the anonymous donor in the newsletter. That donor was me. Another one, when the power company threatened to raise rates. I'd spent 3 weekends analyzing the budget so we could negotiate. Barb took credit for the savings at the 4th of July barbecue. I'd stood in the back holding Noah's hand while she posed with the oversized check I'd made possible. I closed the laptop. The kitchen felt lighter. The snow outside kept falling, covering every ridiculous rule sign in soft white. For the first time, my house didn't feel like it was under surveillance. It felt like mine, but the war was just starting. I knew Barb. She'd spin this as a mental health crisis, rally her board, maybe even try to foreclose on some technicality. I needed proof that couldn't be deleted. I opened a new spreadsheet. I titled it the real HOA ledger. Every transaction, every email, every violation notice cross-referenced with bank statements. I was no longer the quiet fixer. I was the auditor they never saw coming. My phone buzzed again, not the group chat. A direct message from the quiet widow at the end of the street. Mrs. Alvarez. Sarah, I saw everything. I have receipts too. She charged her granddaughter's birthday party to the Youth Activity Fund. I'm with you. I smiled. The first ally. More would come. Downstairs, the front door rattled. I peeked through the blinds. Barb's shiny new SUV, the one I'd indirectly financed, was idling at the curb. She wasn't coming up the walk yet. She was waiting for backup. The board treasurer and the vice president climbed out, all wearing matching HOA windbreakers like some ridiculous militia. I didn't open the door. I just turned on the porch light and waited. Let them stand in the snow. Barb's voice carried through the glass. Sarah Ellison. Open up. We need to discuss this like adults before you ruin Christmas for everyone. I cracked the door 3 inches. Chain still on. Cold air rushed in. You banned me from Christmas. Barb. Seems like the discussion is already over. Her face was redder than her blazer. This is slander. You're spreading lies in front of the entire neighborhood. I held up my phone, screen facing out. Lies don't have bank routing numbers. Barb. Lies don't show your name on the cabin guest list. The treasurer shifted uncomfortably. The vice president looked like she wanted to melt into the snow. Barb sputtered. You have no idea what it takes to run this board. The stress. The sacrifices. I laughed short, dry. The sound of 6 years of patience finally snapping. Sacrifices? Like using community money for your hot tub while fining me for leaving a bike out? Yeah, real tough. She stepped forward, voice dropping to that fake sweet register she used at meetings. Think of Noah. Do you want him to grow up in a neighborhood that's divided because his mother couldn't control herself? The manipulation was so smooth, it almost worked. Almost. Then I remembered Noah asking last week why we couldn't put up the big inflatable Santa like everyone else. HOA says it's tacky. I'd told him. Because Barb had voted it down while spending my money on her own decorations. Think of your own reputation, I said quietly. Because tomorrow at 4 in the community center, I'm bringing an independent auditor and a lawyer. Bring your books. Or don't. Either way, the whole neighborhood will know the truth. I closed the door. The chain clinked like a gavel. The snow kept falling all night, but my house stayed warm. I didn't sleep much. I spent the hours printing everything, the ledger, the emails, the cabin receipt, even the ridiculous violation notices that had cost me thousands while Barb redecorated her kitchen. I organized them into a black binder thick enough to stop a bullet. Tab 1, Personal Misuse of Funds. Tab 2, Selective Enforcement. Tab 3. The Christmas getaway that never should have happened. Noah slept through it all, dreaming of Lego and pizza. I kissed his forehead and whispered, "We're taking our house back." Kiddo. Morning came gray and quiet. The group chat was still exploding, people demanding an emergency meeting, others posting their own horror stories of fines for unapproved mulch color. Barb had gone silent. That worried me more than the screaming. At 3:30, I drove to the community center. The parking lot was already half full. Word had spread. Neighbors I barely knew were standing in clusters, breath fogging in the cold. "Mrs. Alvarez waved me over. "I brought my own folder," she whispered. She charged my late husband's memorial bench to the beautification fund. I felt a fierce surge of solidarity. This wasn't just my fight anymore. Inside the meeting room, the board sat at the head table like defendants waiting for sentencing. Barb wore her church pearls and a smile glued on so tight it looked painful. The treasurer kept shuffling papers. The vice president stared at her phone like it might explode. I took the seat at the opposite end, binder in front of me, lawyer David on my right, the same one Mrs. Alvarez had recommended after her own HOA nightmare. He looked calm, expensive, and ready to carve hearts out with legal precision. Barb cleared her throat. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice. Clearly there's been a misunderstanding. Sarah is under a lot of stress as a single mother, and..." David cut her off smoothly. "We're here for an audit. Mrs. Whitaker, not therapy." I opened the binder. The first page was the cabin booking. I slid it across the table. "Explain this." "Barb, HOA funds paid for a luxury retreat 3 days ago. Guest list, you and 3 friends. No board business mentioned." Gasps rippled through the room. Someone's phone started recording. Barb's smile cracked. It was for strategic planning, team building. David tapped his tablet. The receipt says private cabin, hot tub, chef service. Interesting team building. Also interesting that the same account shows $4,200 spent on your new patio furniture last month, labeled Community Welcome Center upgrades. There is no welcome center. The room erupted. Mr. Hargrove stood up. "I paid extra dues for that welcome center that never existed." Barb's voice rose an octave. "This is harassment. Sarah is clearly unstable. She's been plotting against the board for months." I leaned forward. "Plotting? I've been paying your bills while you fine me for breathing. Let's talk about the wreath fine. 2 inches too wide. $250. Meanwhile, you approved your own Christmas display that took up 3 parking spots." The vice president tried to jump in. "We can vote to remove these allegations." David slid a thicker document forward. "Where you can sign this. Full admission of misuse. Transfer of all improper charges back to personal accounts. Resignation of the entire board effective immediately. Or we walk next door to the police station with copies for the district attorney. Indiana has very clear statutes on embezzlement from homeowners associations." Barb's face went the color of old snow. She looked around the room, her loyal subjects now staring at her like she'd grown horns. "Mrs. Alvarez spoke up. I second the audit demand. And I have more receipts." One by one, neighbors stood. The quiet ones. The ones who've been fined into silence for years. They laid their own stories on the table like cards in a winning hand. Barb tried one last card. She turned to me, eyes wet, real tears this time. "Or the best performance yet. Sarah, we're family here. Neighbors help neighbors. You're breaking the community over money." I looked her dead in the eye. "You broke it the day you decided my money was yours and my voice didn't count. Family doesn't charge admission. And it definitely doesn't laugh when it bans you from Christmas." The room was silent except for the sound of pens scratching as the board, one by one, signed the resignation papers. Barb's hand shook so hard she could barely write her name. When she finished, She looked up at me with pure venom. You'll regret this. You'll be the villain in every story. I closed my binder. No, Barb, you will. Because the story just got rewritten. The parking lot emptied slowly. Neighbors shook my hand, some with tears, some with the dazed look of people waking from a long con. Mrs. Alvarez hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would crack. You gave us our neighborhood back, she whispered. I drove home with the heater blasting and Noah's favorite playlist on low. The house looked different in the afternoon light, not smaller under HOA rules, but solid. Mine. The group chat was still blowing up, but now the tone had flipped. People were posting before and after photos of their yards, the ones they'd been afraid to decorate. Someone started a new thread, rebuilding Elmwood Grove the right way. Barb had been removed from the admin list. Poetic. My phone rang once, unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Later, I'd learn it was a reporter from the local paper who'd heard about the Christmas coup. I saved the message for evidence. Inside, Noah was building his Lego tower on the living room floor. Mom, can we put up the big Santa this year? The one Barb said was tacky. I laughed, real laughter. The kind that bubbles up after you cut the chains. We can put up 10 Santas if we want. We spent the evening stringing lights exactly the way we liked, multicolored, flashing, completely against every HOA regulation that no longer applied. Noah's cheeks glowed red from the cold and excitement. For the first time in years, Christmas felt like ours. But knew Barb wouldn't go quietly. The next morning, the doorbell rang at 7 a.m. I opened it to find her standing on my porch in full Karen armor, puffy coat, perfect hair, and a manila envelope clutched like a weapon. You think you've won, she hissed. I've talked to a lawyer. Those funds were discretionary. You have no proof. I leaned against the doorframe, coffee in hand. I have 3 years of bank statements, digital signatures, and 17 witnesses who just watched you sign a confession. Your lawyer's going to love that. Her eyes darted to the new lights covering my house like a disco ball. You're making a spectacle. The whole neighborhood is laughing at you. No, Barb. They're laughing at the woman who got exposed for stealing Christmas money to fund her hot tub. Big difference. She stepped closer, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. I'll make sure Noah hears every rumor. I'll ruin his reputation before he even starts middle school. The threat landed like a slap. For half a second, the old fear flickered. The fear of being the weird mom, the troublemaker. Then I remembered the ledger, the cabin, the laughing emoji. I smiled slowly. Go ahead. Tell him his mom stood up to the bully who stole from the entire block. I think he'll be proud. She opened her mouth, then closed it. The fight drained out of her like air from a punctured float. She turned and walked back to her SUV, the one with the personalized plate, Ho Queen, that suddenly looked pathetic in the morning light. I watched her drive away. The snow had stopped. The sky was that clear, bright blue that only happens after a storm. Inside, I opened my laptop one last time. I transferred the remaining HOA overpayments back into my savings, the money that should have been Noah's college fund, my vacation fund, our future. Then I logged into the HOA portal and officially resigned my volunteer position. The system actually asked for a reason. I typed, no longer interested in funding other people's vacations. The confirmation email arrived instantly. No more access. No more responsibility. No more silent subsidies. Noah wandered in, still in pajamas. Mom, the lights look awesome. Can we roast marshmallows later? Absolutely. And tomorrow we're driving to that cabin in January. Just you and me. No board. No rules. His eyes lit up. For real. For real. Christmas Eve arrived soft and golden. The house smelled like frozen pizza and hot cocoa with way too many marshmallows. The big inflatable Santa waved from the front yard, glowing defiantly under the new multicolored lights. No one knocked on my door with a fine. No one side-eyed my decorations. Noah and I sat on the floor, eating straight from a box, watching a cheesy holiday movie. He looked up at me during a quiet scene. "Mom, are we the bad guys for not going to the block party?" I pulled him close. "No, buddy, we're the good guys. Real neighbors don't charge you to belong. They don't ban you for asking questions. They definitely don't steal your money and call it community spirit." He thought about that, chewing pepperoni. "So Grandma Barb was running a business?" I laughed. "Exactly. And we just fired the whole board." Later, after he fell asleep under a blanket fort, I stepped outside. The street was quiet. Lights twinkled on every house, some rule-breaking, some still cautious, but none uniform. In the distance, I could see the community center dark and empty. No luminaria walk. No forced caroling. Just peace. My phone buzzed one last time, the group chat. A new post from Mrs. Alvarez. "Official vote. Barb Whitaker and the entire previous board are permanently banned from future events. New election in January. Volunteers welcome. No strings attached." Underneath, a dozen laughing emojis, the good kind. I muted the chat for good. I didn't need it anymore. I had my house, my son, and the first Christmas in years that felt like freedom instead of obligation. 2 weeks later, the local paper ran the story. Elmwood Grove, HOA overthrown in Christmas coup. Residents reclaim neighborhood funds. Barb's photo was buried on page 3. Mine wasn't it at all. I prefer it that way. In January, Noah and I drove to the cabin, the same one Barb had tried to steal. We roasted marshmallows in the hot tub, built snowmen taller than HOA regulations allowed, and laughed until our sides hurt. No one told us our wreath was too wide. No one tracked our trash cans. Back home, the new HOA board, a mix of the quiet neighbors who finally spoke up, sent me a thank you card. Inside was a single line: "We're not tired of you anymore. Thank you for showing us how to do this right." I pinned it to the fridge next to Noah's report card. Some nights, I still scroll past the old violation notices I saved as souvenirs. Each one makes me smile now, black humor at its finest. The $400 wreath fine. The $150 trash can citation. The excessive emotional support. Note when Noah hugged me too long in the driveway. All of it paid for with the same money that funded Barb's luxury escapes. I don't hate her anymore. I pity her. She spent years building a tiny empire on fear and fines, only to watch it collapse because one mom finally hit cancel on the payments. The neighborhood is brighter now. Lawns are still mowed, but the Christmas lights stay up until February if people want. Kids ride bikes without timing their driveway stops. And every time I drive past Barb's house, sold last month to a nice young family who put up rainbow lights, I feel the same sweet satisfaction. Justice doesn't always come with handcuffs. Sometimes it comes with canceled autopays, public spreadsheets, and one perfectly timed group chat bomb. If you're watching this and your HOA has a Karen ruling with an iron fist, remember Sarah's story. Keep your receipts. Keep your cool. And when they send that message, "We're tired of you," smile. Because that's the moment you stop paying for their Christmas and start enjoying your own. The snow is falling again tonight. My lights are flashing. Noah is asleep upstairs dreaming of Lego empires. And for the first time in 6 years, this house feels exactly the right size. No fines, no fear, just peace. And that, neighbors, is the best gift any homeowners association could never give you. Thank you for watching this HOA Karen drama to the end. Drop a comment with your own craziest HOA story. I read every single one. If this video gave you the courage to fight your own homeowners association nightmare, hit like and subscribe for more real-life revenge tales. See you in the next one, where we tackle the Karen who tried to ban backyard trampolines. Stay free out there.